Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, you may. Councilmember Kelly.
Present.
Councilmember Turner is absent. Councilmember Cafferty.
Here.
Councilmember Armstrong.
Here.
Councilmember Granillo.
I think he's online.
Eric, raise your hand.
His mic is off, but we
Here.
can't hear you. Yep, there he is.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Here.
Mayor Miller.
Here.
And it looks like Mr. Goodman is on as well from the attorney's
Hey,
office.
Mike, how you doing?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. How are you?
Good.
He actually speaks.
Discussion, item 2, discussion regarding temporary sign code sunset clause. Mr.
Alrighty.
Dingy, sorry my tongue kind of fell asleep
It's
in the middle
okay.
of that.
It's been a lot worse, so you're fine. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. This discussion item before you is regarding the sunset clause that I believe we all know very well. We went through a process in 2020 for a text amendment for our sign code. And part of that was the sunset provision for auxiliary signs, which are the banners, the flag signs, the real attention getter signs that you see all up and down 89 and then throughout Chino Valley itself. That sunset clause was set to expire, or was set to enact July 1, 2022, which is coming up here in a few months. So during that 2-year period from 2020 to 2022, we were supposed to evaluate, see if this is something that's working for the town, see if we need any modifications. However, as we know, in 2020, COVID hit, and it is staff's opinion that we didn't really get a good sample of what this could be, what this ordinance should have shaped out as, with the the restrictions on businesses and everything. So staff is proposing that we extend this sunset clause for 5 years to July 1, 2027, so we can get a better feel of if this works going forward. So I'd like to just open it up for council to see if that's something they're amenable to, if they want that, if
Sure.
some other direction.
I'm going to interject just a minute.
Yeah.
John, are you familiar with this thing?
I am.
Okay, and Tom, you are?
Yes.
And you are too as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure they knew, because you guys weren't on council when we voted in, right?
I was on planning and zoning. when it
Oh,
came
that's
to
why.
So they-
And I was when
Okay.
that one came
Okay,
through.
thank you. All right, go ahead, sir.
Well, that's it. I'll turn it over
Any
to you
questions
guys
for-
for some
On
dialogue.
this, any opinions?
Questions? Have there been complaints?
We haven't gotten too many. We've gotten a couple as far as placement, but for the most part, they've been pretty well policed.
And in the business community, what's been, from the feedback that you do or might have gotten, what has that been?
We haven't really gotten any. For new businesses that have located physically, they appreciate that they don't have to obtain a permit for the auxiliary signs. They come in, get that final permanent sign, and then they're allowed that 72 square feet for these auxiliary signs. They like it, but of course they haven't known any other way as well.
So do you like it? Or does the development services find it's working?
I don't know if we have enough experience to say one way or another. I mean, if the intention is that it was to diminish complaints to the Development Services Department or code enforcement activities, I believe that has occurred.
Okay.
Tom?
I don't have anything.
Annie?
Hi.
Hi.
My only question / concern are here we go with the terminology with all the signs, are the banner
Sure,
signs and their placement and adjacent with Highway 89. Is that something that's been looked at as far as safety is concerned, or are we
So-
good to go?
Yeah, right now they should be 6 feet behind property line. We've only been acting based on complaint based. I know originally with the 2020 adoption that there was supposed to be some self-policing going on. Don't know if that's actually happened or not, but we have not gotten any complaints from anybody on placement of signs and view triangles or anything like that.
Good, good. You got anything?
No, it looks good. The system looks like it's working from the last few years.
Right. Eric, you have anything, buddy?
No, it's okay.
I didn't hear what he said.
It's
Oh, it's
okay.
Okay. Did you have something you want to say, Tom?
Yep, come on, Tom.
Figure that's why you're here, so you might as well. Go, Tom.
Sorry, it's been a while, and I wasn't expecting to speak, so I really didn't prepare anything because I was alerted that it's study session and it's not generally opened up for businesses and whatnot. So I do appreciate that. and basically I came in here almost the fight's out of this dog. I leave it to Will. It's his day in, day out. I just need to know what to tell people because I deal with them day in and day out too. So I really just I need to know how to advise people what they can and can't do. And of course, I always then say, but your best bet is to check with development services and go over and see what they have to say. I appreciate that it's not really going to change. It's a little frustrating that we're going to have to review it again in 5 years. I mean, I've been doing this on the sign code since 2009, and it, we just, I don't know how it's your job. It's you guys figure out how this works, but for me, I would just enact it, get rid of the sunset clause, and if it needs to be addressed and changed, let's address it and change it. If it's 2 years, if it's 4 years, if it's 8, we change ordinance all the time as far as I understand. For me as a business, 2002 and the COVID years and what we're going through hasn't affected my business. I don't know if it's affected a whole lot of other businesses other than turnover, but I mean, it's probably affected you guys more than it has affected me because your staff and the way it all works out and the way they've been coming in, closing and whatnot. I haven't had that. So I've been interacting and dealing with this daily where you guys probably had some times where you didn't and whatnot. So again, I just need to know what to tell people. And it's, it's been a challenge to say that the last 6 months or whatever, this is what it's going to be, but it may change. So, it's nice to have that. This is what it is, and this is where we're at. So, we can do that, I guess, for another 5 years or whatever y'all decide. That's fine. It's just, it seems like the phrase I think is kicking the can down the road. I think we've used that phrase a time or two. So, but again, I'm not here to complain. I'm not here to criticize. I'm not here to do anything other than to get information so I know what to tell people as best as I can to help Will do his job.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Tom?
I know that most of us know who you are, but can you just let the people?
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you so much.
Tom Payne. I have Tom's print and sign here in town, and yes.
I just have one question. What is the feedback you're getting regarding the signs from the business community?
The feedback is very positive. They certainly appreciate that they can know and put up when it's by code, and that we can I can point it out to them and exactly what it says and exactly what they're able to do. So the business owners are very in favor of being able to do that. There has been some talk about policing, and there has been some talk about going. I know a couple customers have gone down and talked to, hey, your sign's coming apart. You got to fix that. But for the most part, that was a pipe dream, I think. It was,
Sure.
but that is still in code. If it's in bad repair or if it's a safety issue, it's in code now. It can be addressed. We've worked this thing. We've worked this thing over and over and over again, and I think it's fairly well done. But there's always different opinions, I guess. So
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So, Will, how come we don't want to just enact it like he was saying instead of extending our study?
Yeah, that's absolutely your prerogative if you want to go that way. That's just what staff was recommending, so we can get a better, essentially, sample of what this looks like going forward in a normal, quote unquote.
I think we'd all like to put this to bed.
Cool.
So,
So yeah, if that's direction, staff will prepare a text
we
amendment.
can't make any decisions in
Right.
the study sessions.
So what we'll do then is we'll prepare a text amendment to completely eliminate the sunset clause from code, and we'll take it through the public hearing process, planning and zoning, and then before you guys, once again, I don't know when that next date will be, but it will be soon.
Before July 1st.
Yes, absolutely, before July 1st.
Thank you.
Or will it? Might not be. I know as far as notification process goes, we'll make sure it doesn't affect day-to-day businesses, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem.
go away anyway.
Is that all on that?
That is all on that. Lori Lineberry will be taking over for the second
Okay.
item here.
Item 3, discussion regarding a potential text amendment to
Leave it
increase
that
the 300-foot mailed notification distance for public hearings. And it says Will, but you're not Will.
I'm not Will.
Okay.
You can be Will.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So one of the things that I do is I listen to comments at meetings, at hearings, when people make presentations. And one thing that keeps coming up is people keep saying, hey, there's not enough notification. And so we keep sharing, well, the state says we only have to do 1. We actually do 5. We think we do enough. And that kicks in my head. And so when I'm not thinking about other stuff, my brain's like processing this stuff. And at some point, something comes out, and it's like, aha. So I know that some people want to notice everybody in town for every single project, and we actually do that because we put a notice in the newspaper and we do the website, and that's noticed to everybody. But I also know that the provision in state law was developed in the Phoenix area, and we all know that that is way more dense than what we have up here. So my little brain said, okay, why don't we look at this differently? Instead of we're not notifying enough people, we need to notify the whole town. How about we look at it and go, with bigger lots, how many people do we really notice? So what I have prepared is 4 sets of comparisons. So the first one is for 6,500 square foot lots in Highlands Ranch. I just picked a lot that was vacant, and I said, okay, the first map is 300-foot radius, and in an area that's that dense, you're noticing 62 property owners. I mean, that's a significant amount of property owners. And if you look where the parcel is, it's the one that's highlighted in yellow right here. We're going well beyond people that are directly impacted. So then I said, okay, well, I'm going to look at 600 and 900. So every one of these scenarios has 300, which is our current code, 600 and 900. When you're in the dense, the smaller lots, you notify a whole lot more people in a smaller radius. So I wanted to see what would we generate if we required a 900-foot radius for every notice. Well, 300 property owners is huge for something that impacts maybe 15 property owners around there. So I went to the next one, which is Chino Meadows. Those are like 7,400 square foot lots. And you can see at 300 feet, we noticed 43 property owners. At 600 feet, it's 135. And at 900, it's 268, which is a lot of noticing. And really the goal for this notice is to send notice to people that could be directly impacted. This isn't the all notice to everybody. That's why we do all those other things. So went to an acre or larger, and actually it's an acre to 2 acre. So if we did a 300-foot radius, we have 13 parcels. And to me, as a planner, that doesn't reach enough people based on what we're doing. So I looked at the 600, it's 30 parcels, and then you go to 900, and it's 49. So either one of those makes sense, even though some in the 900-foot radius really are not that directly impacted. So then went to the 2 acre or larger. So I found a less dense area than that. I tried to find vacant parcels so nobody would look at these and go, oh, you picked my lot. So hopefully nobody's looking at that, because I'm just looking at size of parcel and area. So a 2 acre or larger parcel with a 300-foot radius is 8 notices, and that is totally inefficient. That's not an effective number. If we go to the 600-foot radius, that gives us 19 property owners that we notice. At 900, it gives us 37, which is about what we get with a 300-foot radius in the dense areas. So even though the 900 does tag some property owners that really aren't affected at all by this, it does still create an area that's pretty much equivalent to the number of properties we notice at a 300-foot radius with the more dense properties. So staff is proposing a change for properties that are like an acre or larger to go to a larger radius, and 600 or 900 works for us, and thought that this would be a good opportunity for conversation to see maybe a direction that council would like to go.
Please.
No comments this time, or, yeah.
Eric, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've had a lot of discussion on that. I think Lori's correct on the large parcels. It needs to be extended for sure. But Lori, is there a way to do it without extending the small ones?
Yes.
Like in Highlands Ranch?
Yes.
Or will it be all or none?
No, it's not all or none. This is why I did all 3 scenarios for all 4 different sizes to see what really would that impact be, and what are we walking into. And so we could split it that less than an acre stays at the 300, and anything more than an acre could be either the 600 or the 900.
Okay. That'd be great for the 1 and 2 acre parcel lots. That's all I got, Jack.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate this. Thank you. I'm in favor of the 900-foot radius, even if it does not necessarily affect people in the more dense ones. I think the more, even though we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notifications that we do, I think the notification would bring more transparency, and that is what the community is calling for. I'm in favor of that. On the extreme end, I'd be good with 600 feet also.
Tom.
I was at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting when this came up last time, Lori, and you explained it quite eloquently, and you do much more than you have to do at any given time. And if people can't adhere to that and start learning, so be it. I leave it as it is.
Okay. John?
Good, excellent illustrations. Puts it in perspective. If we're going to do it, we keep it. My thought would be keep it at the 1 acre or larger. Keep it at the 600, or go to the 600. If it's less than 1 acre, then we maintain the 300. I think that works good.
Okay, I kind of agree with that. With the acre or the 2 acres, do the larger one, and then the smaller parcels, because 396, that's a lot of contacts for
It's a
for
lot.
parcel
It's a
owners.
lot of postage that we don't currently collect from
Correct.
people.
Right.
And it's like $150, and it's like, wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
That's it. Thank you.
you got
I
enough?
appreciate your comments. Yeah.
No problem. Thank you. I lost my agenda again. Did you take it again?
No.
Oh, study session, that's that one. Okay. Well, number 4, you're back.
I am back.
Discussion regarding a potential text amendment for solar and wind farms within Chino Valley town limits.
All righty, thank you. So this one's a little different. So I'm not sure if we all know that we do have one single solar farm here within the town limits over on 4 South, run by owned and operated by APS. However, within the last 3 years, staff conceptually has received 3 proposals for 1,000+ acre solar farms here within town limits on the east end of town. They have not gone past conceptual level. There's a lot of inner workings with these, and they tend to just broach the subject with staff first to see if it's even remotely feasible, and then they either move on or they don't tell us. So currently within town code, how we handled the APS solar farm in the past was they came in for a conditional use permit. And within all residential zoning districts, single family, so from 0.16 up to 2.5, and then AR4 up and AR5, they all have a provision similar to the way that the APS one was permitted to worth a conditional use permit. Staff feels that that's a little extreme. We would like to propose to council that we shift to requiring or only allowing solar farms or wind farms within the open space zoning district. The reason for this being is that they are typically a long-term temporary facility. They tend to, specifically with solar, tend to have the panels removed after a certain lifespan is done, whether the operation is no longer feasible or they move on to the next big thing. So once that operation would cease, that land would revert to open space, and then moving forward, it could be developed in accordance with the general plan. Staff is looking at making these solar and wind farms, the use only be for 500, 1,000 acre lots or developments going up, and then prohibiting anything underneath that. So we don't have potentially some vacant lots within a 5-acre area, have the allowance or potential to be developed in this sense with a conditional use permit. So trying to get ahead of this before it gets too far out of the gate here. So with that, I open it up for some dialogue with the council, seeing what their pulse is on this and what they think.
Amy? Comments?
Could you? I have to tread very lightly
Sure.
here. What is the open space designation, and what does that consist of?
So
If
the
you
open
could show me
space-
on a map or explain.
So
that would
right
be
now
great.
we don't have any zone. We have a zoning district in place. It is OS short or open space, typically reserved for wildlife preservation, nature preservations, which is why we felt this one could be applicable within there, because once that use ceases, it is reserved as open space moving forward for that. We currently have no property zoned as open space within town limits. So this would be kind of a chance, so we're not affecting anything that's already zoned open space. It's everything going forward. So any new developments being proposed with this rezone. I hope that answers your question. No?
No.
What can I do better?
So there's not currently an open space zoning district.
There
correct?
is currently.
There
So
is.
I can,
Okay, yeah, if I
yeah.
could see that, that would
yeah,
be awesome.
absolutely.
And there's the news.
We're surfing now.
Mighty quick with that mouse.
I do this quite often.
He spends way too much time on a computer.
I do. My mom
Yeah.
told me that.
He's quick.
So right here, so they have the applicability that the OS, Open Space Resource Conservation designated, may be applied where the town wishes to strictly limit uses of land for the preservation of open space and resource conservation. Being that this is wind farms, solar farms are generally a green resource, staff did feel that it kind of fit within there. Seeing if council shares that same viewpoint. But then it lists the 4 permitted outright uses: agricultural, cultivating, ranching, historical sites, public parks, play areas, horse trail, bike path, walking path, similar non-motorized. If open space is the direction that council wishes to take this, we would have to do some amendments with the no structure provisions, as solar panels are structures. So we would have to do some tweaking if that's something that council wishes.
Okay, which brings a question. Public parks and play areas, that's permitted in the open zone, open
is
space zone?
Correct.
So would these, if we were to move on that, would that encompass that? As far as parks and play areas? I know that
So are you
sounds-
talking with existing parks and play areas?
Mhm.
So with the ones that we have now, most of them are located within public land or land that's zoned public land. So it wouldn't be applicable to that. So it would be only for, just like any other zoning district, single family 1, 2 acre minimum, these parcels of land would act like that. They would need to be zoned to open space in order to function with these permitted uses. And currently we do not have any zoned land as open space within town limits.
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Okay, Eric, you there, buddy?
Yes, I am. As we need them in the future, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Yep.
Tom?
Same.
I think I agree with, and the key words are with the rapid development of technology, this will change quickly. So the ability to get it or have it and then change it based on the rapid technological developments is very important.
John?
What's the existing zoning for the place for South?
AR5
So they're on AR5.
with a conditional use permit.
So
yes.
in the future, had that project, let's say that project, they would need, if they bought the parcel, they don't have it in place, they would need to go before the planning and zoning and the council to change to OS, is what we're saying.
Not with this one because they are currently operating with that conditional
No,
use.
no, hypothetically, if they
Oh.
weren't there,
It-
that would be, that's what we're looking to do.
So APS, so the big issue here too is determining between public and private utility companies. The people that have approached us have been private utility companies who would then sell the power to APS, while APS is the public company that operates as a public entity providing utilities. So I believe, is that right on where we're on? Yeah. So that's the other distinguishing factor here, that APS still would potentially have that ability to do so within the public aspect of utilities, but any private company would need to adhere to these open space regulations. Yeah.
And would that follow suit if the company, if I owned a company and I was doing that and I was a subcontractor with APS, I don't know if that exists, would I still derive the benefits of the public use land, or would I have to go to OS?
It would have to be OS.
Even if I was in a contract and I'm an extension of APS?
I would believe so, yeah.
We've seen contracts come and go. Now, APS is our electricity provider, and so what we would do is make sure that our definition allowed APS to put substations wherever they needed to put them with a CUP. What this would do, if we made this change, is it would control where we could have anybody put any kind of solar or wind is really my bigger concern with the noise, with the whop of the propellers. Right now, somebody could go right next to your house and put one in. Permitted use. We're done. Kind of like before the cell towers came in, if you were a town that was on top of that and you created an ordinance that could regulate them so they were where you wanted them and not where they ended up because you're now trying to catch up with where the technology is. Since we don't have a solar farm here that isn't APS, and we have had a number of people come in who were previously told other ways to get there, to be able to put in a solar farm or a wind farm. What we wanted to do was identify those two uses because they're not called out. All it says is public utility. It doesn't say solar farm or wind farm. So we really need to call them out to allow them to be here. And then let's put them someplace where the land could be kind of reserved, but big pieces far away from town. When the technology, goes under or swaps out, they pull this stuff out. And then that's land that's available for other things based on what the general plan calls for.
This is one of those few times I would think a blended zoning district actually makes sense because it is kind of industrial, Although I don't agree with blended, but it just seems like that's one of those times.
Well, one of the prior people that had come in before I got here was told, yeah, you have to take that 1,000 acres and zone it industrial. Well, maybe that's okay for solar panels, but once the solar panels come out, now you have 1,000 acres of industrial that anything listed in the industrial zone could just go in. And I don't think that's really what we want. So this kind of gives us an interim step, and it actually gives them a pathway to get to a solar or wind farm that we don't really have right now.
And then in the future, a private individual wouldn't need a CUP.
That is correct. We would just have it as a permitted use in the open space.
I agree with everything that we're bringing up here.
Developmental Services needs it, let them have it. I don't see a problem with it.
So what we'll do, based on this is we'll draft a text amendment. We can bring it back to a study session if council wishes, or we can go ahead and take it directly to planning and zoning through the public process. What do we think?
Send it to P and Z.
P and Z.
All right. Thank you much.
All right.
P&Z.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Is that all on that? Is that all for tonight?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor? We're adjourned till 6 o'clock.
Thank y'all.
Well, that wasn't easy.
Thank you, Tom.
Filled in for Lon.
Hello.
All right, I call the meeting order. Would you please rise and join me in pledge allegiance. Okay, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, you may. Councilmember Kelly.
Present.
Councilmember Turner is absent. Councilmember McCafferty.
Here.
Councilmember Armstrong.
Here.
Councilmember Granillo.
Here.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Here.
Mayor Miller.
Here.
And Andrew, our town attorney, is present remotely.
All right. Introductions, presentations, proclamations. Presentation, life-saving award to Officer
Matea.
Matea,
Matea.
Herrera, McIntyre, Chapman, Johnson, Samansky, Heislip, and Murray.
Keezy.
Chief.
Easy.
Keezy.
Did I miss Pizzy?
Yep.
Oh. Well, I ain't gonna name him if he ain't here.
Mayor and council, we're here tonight to recognize several of our officers with life-saving awards. These cover 3 different incidents that have happened this year. So I'm going to just briefly tell you about those. You probably know about them, and then we'll have the officers come up and we'll line them up so we can get pictures and present them with the awards. So you're probably all aware of the accident that happened on Perkinsville Road earlier this year with the students. It was pretty horrific, and so my guys actually got out there first and started triaging, and they got on Fire's channel, directed the fire department in and asked for additional engines, knowing that we had a lot of kids that needed to get taken care of. So that speeded everything up, not having to wait for fire to show up to actually do the triage themselves and ask for additional help. So that was the first incident. We have another incident with a gentleman that was riding a motorcycle, and apparently the brakes locked up, caused him to crash. The officers got there first. He was arterial bleeding out of the leg. They were able to apply a tourniquet and stabilize him until fire was able to get there and do further treatment and get him transported. And the third incident involved a gentleman that his airway was blocked and he was choking and not getting any air. The officer was able to recognize that, clear his airway, and stabilize him until fire got there and transported. So we're going to start with Officer Matea because he actually is the recipient of 2 of the life-saving awards. Officer Matea was the officer that helped the gentleman with the airway problem and also on the accident. Officer Herrera, I don't believe is here tonight. He was the second officer on the motorcycle crash. And then the other officers, I got a list so I don't forget anybody, were involved with the accident on Perkinsville Road. And that was Lieutenant McIntyre, Lieutenant Chapman, Sergeant Cody Johnson, School Resource Officer Pizzy, Officers Heislip, Officers Shizmansky, FTO Shizmansky. I get them out of order. I'm going to mess up their certificates. Officer Jay Murray. And I think that's all that are here. So, Terry, how do you want to, gonna get from there? All right. Make sure we got them right. Okay. If they're wrong, it's Marilee's fault. All right, 2 for Officer Matea. Congratulations. Thank you. I was gonna say, can you do them from that angle? Yeah, hold that. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Lieutenant McIntyre.
Would it be inappropriate?
Thank you, sir.
No, let's go.
Should.
Do it. John, let's go shake hands.
Everybody?
No, we're gonna shake hands first.
Thank you for your.
Super.
Congratulations.
Hey, thanks for what you're doing. Thank you. Great job. Good job. Good job. I haven't seen you guys look this squared away in a long time. Hey, thanks for doing it. Good job. Good job, sir. Thank you.
Good job.
Marilyn, do you want to do pictures of just the group picture? Do you want to do a group picture with, have them squish together and do a group? Okay. Terry can do, we just have to squish them together. Yeah, squish together.
Squish.
Each other. All right. Should I hold on to his hip?
Okay.
Photo bomb.
New tradition.
I think it's good.
Start
Good.
the day.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Now, look this way.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good job. Now get back to work.
Sticker badges. Don't forget the sticker badges.
More like clock out. They're on overtime.
Oh, hold on. Don't
Don't what?
Don't move
there
forward.
goes the
Hang
baby.
I'm not doing anything. I'm letting them do what they want to do. Do you guys, you want to get pictures with
Yeah.
the, with
Can we
the
do that?
ones you helped? You want to get pictures with the people you helped that are here?
Kids, please.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think you
Please.
should.
Yep.
You want to take pictures?
Yeah. Bring your families up if you want.
Everybody.
Call your neighbors, have them come take pictures.
Babies in the front row.
Make
Yeah.
Annie cry. It's cool.
That'd be awesome.
Thanks, Jeff.
I'll keep your
Aw,
phone.
Noel.
Wow.
We want to get a picture with all of you. We're going to
Noel
put you
and
here.
Christian.
One's lost it already. She's over there bawling already.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
It's not good. It was
Yeah. Tragic accident. Golly.
There's no safety officers there.
Understand there's one that's paralyzed? Damn.
Yeah, I want you to, I don't want the podium. I want you guys over here.
Two steps right.
Don't forward.
Two steps right, please.
OSHA.
I'll go on there. Yeah, come over this way a little bit, if you would, please. So we don't have the podium in, we just want you guys.
We need a new town hall, so we have a place to take pictures.
Oop, still going. That guy's gonna have to duck going out the door.
Hold on, wait,
And a big round of appreciation.
well. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Time. Daytime.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, they're gonna make fun of me for crying, so I'm just gonna put this out there. I'm crying. These kids are Chino kids. They're Chino Valley High School kids. And when this came across, no one knew what was going on. We just knew there was a bad accident down the road. And then more and more details came in. And a couple of those kids weren't expecting to make it. Okay, so I'm up here crying because they're here. So a lot of prayers and a lot of gratitude to our PD and everyone involved. And I yield. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clapping because you're crying.
Okay, we're moving on here.
In the middle of Hawk's Nest, start crying again.
All right, item B under presentations. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Presentation update regarding the 2022 aquatics calendar from Cindy Thomas. There you are.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. So I'm going to present to you tonight our aquatic season update. I think you all have the schedules in your packet.
Yes.
This has been a very fluid process, and I have updates to the schedule that's in your packet. As most of you know, we've had some challenging times getting this pool open this season. We've been waiting on parts. We've been waiting on specialists. We had difficulty finding staff. So we're proposing two different options. We have two different options in place. One is to open on Memorial Day like we historically always do, and the other is to open on June 4th. And we are pushing for that Memorial Day. They're working on the pool as we speak. It is empty. They are cleaning it. They're fixing parts that need to be fixed. We've been waiting on that to get our staff trained, so we have a lot to accomplish in a couple of weeks. So realistically, it's probably going to be June 4th, but we are pushing for that Memorial Day. The other thing we have done is we have added open swim on Sundays, which is not on your packet, and that'll be from 10:30 to 5:30. Everything else is pretty much the same as we've always historically done. The other change that's fairly significant is we are not offering Aquafit daily. We're offering it only on Saturdays, and it'll be a drop-in class rather than you have to register for the class. And that is due to, of course, trying to find an instructor, which goes right along with trying to find staff. So with that, do you all have any questions? I did not do any of my slides. You want to see them?
Nothing over there? Eric, are you there, buddy? You have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. John?
There's Memorial Day. And there's June 4th.
Okay. Yeah, we got.
Thank you.
Cindy,
Am I stepping on your toes? I'm so sorry.
No, please, step on them.
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
I'm
just,
good.
Okay, go, Annie.
Questions, comments?
am I correct? The fees were not increased from last
They
year,
were not
right?
increased from last year. No, they were not.
Correct. Same price
And we're
as
planning a couple of other specials throughout the season just because we are having a late start. We are closing a little bit earlier than normal. So we want to make sure that our community gets the most bang for their buck.
Good, good.
So,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
All right. Called the public?
Call to the public is an opportunity for the public to address the council on any issue within the jurisdiction of the council that is not on the agenda. Public comment is encouraged. Individuals are limited to speak for 3 minutes. The total time for call to the public may be up to 30 minutes per meeting. Council action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date, or responding to criticism. I do have a couple.
Okay.
Larry Holt, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, and staff. I have two little things I want to bring up. I'm going to go kind of quick because I do have two items. The first is, as a member of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, that pool bleeds a lot of money, and we want to make some money with it. We want to at least have it functioning at a zero. And it's hard to do in our town because we don't have a lot of revenue coming in other than sales tax. And I know the town is exploring the possibility of re-implementing impact fees. And I urge you strongly to do it because I, like many other citizens of Chino, don't want to pay a town property tax. And that's the only other way we're going to get the revenue to do the things the town needs. So I really urge you to go forward with that. I know they said it was going to take up to a year to research, but I would think you could go to hold of some similar sized towns and find out how they did it and get it going. We're the only town in Yavapai County that doesn't charge them, and we need that money. The second thing is I want to address the council in particular here, and specifically, I know all of you on this council, and I want to say something. You guys have been getting beat up, and you don't deserve it. There have been accusations thrown at this council that are false. They are outright lies, they're disrespectful, and it's really dishonoring some of our citizens in this town. It shouldn't be that way. This has been, since I've been here, the best group that we've had in the council yet. And you listen to people, and you sit down and talk to people, and all it takes is for those people to take the effort to call you and make an appointment and sit down with you. And I want to thank you for the job that you've done. I know some of you are leaving, and I wish you all the very best. And I hope that those that come in to replace you are as open-minded and as caring about the community as you guys are. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Next is, and I'm sorry if I butcher this, Armati May?
Good evening, Council. My name is Armati May. I am grateful for the opportunity to address you, and I live here in Chino Valley as of October of last year. I am here tonight to bring forth a concern about the safety risks associated with 5G, which has been largely misunderstood by many people who are not familiar with the harmful effects that this infrastructure already has had on not only children, but adults and even bees, who are essential for pollinating our crops and providing the food that we need to survive. I've noticed while driving on the 89, the tower at the Chino Valley High School. I've noticed towers elsewhere as well in Chino Valley. And I would urge you to allow us to have a conversation about why this is a concern, not just a concern, but actually a problem for the health and safety of the children who go to the high school and for the community members who are exposed to this. Now, I understand that there are other cities in Arizona, such as Phoenix and even Tucson, that are much worse in terms of their rollout of 5G. However, we here in Chino Valley have an opportunity to be leaders in safe technology, which there is ample safe technology at our disposal. For example, fiber optics has been utilized effectively and actually with faster internet connectivity as compared to the wireless infrastructures. And I'd like to cite some historic decision by the District 9th Circuit Court, which ruled in August of 2021 that the FCC failed to respond to record evidence that exposure to radio frequency radiation at levels below the FCC's current limits may cause negative health effects unrelated to cancer. But there have been over 10,000 studies in a landmark $30 million U.S. national toxicology program, which found clear evidence of cancer as well as evidence of DNA damage. And this includes, as I mentioned, thousands of peer-reviewed studies that prove electromagnetic frequency radiation causes biological damage, including heart cancer, heart disease, increased blood pressure, blood glucose, diabetes, neurological disorders, abnormal brain development, learning and memory deficits, increased free radicals, oxidative stress, structural and functional changes to sperm and the reproductive system, increased exposure can also increase the risk for autism. And you can look at Children's Health Defense versus the FCC to learn more about this ruling, as well as azforsafetech.org and children'shealthdefense.org. Again, my name is Dr. Armighty May. I'm a practicing veterinarian, and I look forward to continuing the conversation in the near future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll get your information to the town manager, and she'll get somebody in contact with you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Those were the only comment cards that I had.
Okay, anybody else want to speak that didn't put in a card? All right. Moving on, current events and summaries and reports. This item is for information only. The mayor and any council member or town manager may present a brief summary or report of current events if listed below. There may also be a presentation of the information requested by the mayor and council, and questions may be answered. No actions will be taken. I don't have anything to report. How about over here, John? Tom?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of attending the Republican Women's of Prescott luncheon today, in which they were honoring law enforcement. Special notice, they did recognize Chief Wynn in their program. He was unable to attend, but 3 of his officers were there and duly took care of business as they should and was recognized by everybody. Also, a young lady by the name of Madison Foster, Chino Valley High School, 4.0 grade average, was one of their scholarship award winners. She's going to Dixie State to study dental hygiene, and stopped her personally and congratulated her and thanked her for the town of Chino. Nope.
Not law?
No.
No, that's Lauren that's going to law school.
Lauren's going to law school.
Okay.
The Fosters. I have nothing.
Eric?
One of them kids, huh?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to the police department for the employee appreciation lunch last week. You did a great job, and thanks for your work today. Your awards, you deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
I'm clear. I think we're moving along.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take a moment to say a special thank you to the Safeway. A number of you were at their grand opening, but without really any notice, they called us up and gave our police foundation $5,000 donation.
Awesome.
So I just want to recognize them for that. What a great grand opening, how nice the store looks, and to thank them for the support for our police department.
Yeah, and they also gave, I think they gave out $25,000, I think I saw, or 20,000.
Yeah, I think every school got like $2,500.
Yeah, 2,500.
School got
Well, they
some.
gave a lot of money away. It was awesome. It was very awesome.
They named the liquor on
Yeah.
Perkinsville Road.
I know. I know.
And they,
Thanks for
I know.
bringing that up, Tom.
and they weren't looking for recognition. Like I said, it was very little notice. They just did it quickly and for the betterment of our community. So thank them.
Thank you. Consent agenda.
I see you laughing, Joe.
All those items listed below are considered to be routine and may be enacted by one motion. Any council member may request to remove any item from the consent agenda to be considered and discussed separately. Cloyce, you got anything you want to remove?
No, I agree.
Eric?
No, I do not.
Okay, how about this side over here?
No.
We'll entertain a motion then.
I will make a motion. We accept consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, and F as written.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 6, action items. The council may vote to recess public meeting and hold an executive session on any item on this agenda pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A3 for the purpose of discussion or consultation for legal advice with town attorney. Executive sessions are not open to the public, and no action may be taken in executive session. Item A, consideration and possible action to award the construction of fiscal year 2022 street improvements to Asphalt Paving and Supply Incorporated in the amount of $1,848,318. Mr. Morberry.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. This is the budgeted street projects for fiscal year 22. We put out a bid. We were worried with all of the price hikes over the year of being able to afford to do the whole project. The engineer's estimate was $2.5 million. So we split up the bid and did the Road 1 West portion that you see in blue is an alternate bid. But the bids came in, the low bid was from Asphalt Paving and Supply at the 1.848 million. And we think within the budget, we have enough money to do the entire project. So staff recommends awarding the bid to Asphalt Paving and Supply for the entire project. Let me just go over those real quick. We've got Road 4.5 North up on top of the page from Reed to 1 West. Road 2 South at the bottom from the highway to Road 1 East. Road 1 West from 1 North to 2 North, just south of Del Rio School. And then one of the cul-de-sacs off the west side of Perkinsville, Antelope Drive, I believe is drive there. We need to do all of those cul-de-sacs, but if we start with one, that'll get us going. So that's what's in the bid, and staff recommends awarding the bid to Asphalt Paving and Supply.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
No.
Eric, you have a question?
No.
Amy?
Does it include additive alternate 1, the North Road 1 East between West Road 1 North and 2 North?
Yes, the 1.848 includes alternate 1, which is Road 1 West.
You know, if I looked at
from
my
1 north
screen,
to
I
2
could have
north.
seen that. Thank you.
So,
Tom?
No, this has been through roads and streets, and this is wonderful. I'm glad to see that we can do this for the town.
Agreed. John?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
just one more thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If awarded, they plan to start tomorrow.
Perfect.
Well, hold on.
Let us start tonight.
Hold on. I make a motion. We award the construction of fiscal year 2022 street improvements to Asphalt Paving and Supply Incorporated in the amount of $1,848,318.
Second.
Motion made, seconded twice. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Please.
None. Motion, nobody opposed. Motion carries. Excuse me.
They can start tomorrow.
We'll be out on 4.5 tomorrow.
Yay!
Those people with horse trailers on 4.5 are standing up and applauding.
Yeah. Item B, consideration possible action to approve the Hawksnecks Village minor subdivision final plat to divide approximately 90 acres into 2.35 acre parcels, a 13.58 acre parcel, and a 72.77 acre parcel located west of State Road 89 and Road 2 North and east of Road 1 West. Hi, Will.
Hi, hello again. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Will Dingy, Senior Planner here with the town. As read, this is a request before you for a minor subdivision approval for a final plat for Hawksnest Village. The applicant is in attendance this evening, as well as some of his architect and engineer staff, if any questions arise for them following the presentation. So the 90-acre subject property is located approximately 70 feet west of the intersection of State Route 89 and 2 North. East of this property is Walgreens and Burger King. And then to the west is, Del Rio Elementary and Heritage Middle School. The property is largely vacant, used for grazing land, with the exception of 3 buildings located on the southwest side of the property that are assessed as salvaged buildings. So to briefly recap both the property history as well as the project history, this property was originally entitled back in 2006 with an SR 0.16 planned area development. They had average lot areas of roughly 13,000 square foot lots. In February of 2017, that existing PAD was amended to rezone the southwest portion, shown here, as multifamily. That had a PAD for an apartment complex. In May 2020, the applicant purchased the subject property. April 2021, applicant received site plan approval for the Hawksnest Village Apartments. In 2021, the applicant began the process for permitting, which is currently ongoing. And then in April 2022, the applicant applied for a minor subdivision to divide the property by associated projects. So to get into that a little further here, it's a little hard to represent this for such a large property as a single piece. So I've got 2 here. This is the full site as it sits with the proposal, and this is a little bit more zoomed in, a little bit more detailed. So like I previously stated, there are 3 primary parcels. Parcel 1, which is reserved for the Hawks Nest Apartments, which is 13.5 acres. Parcel 2, which is the remainder single-family residential. It'll be a final platted subdivision, which is 72, almost 73 acres. Parcel 3, which is reserved for a drainage basin that will help capture the water from Parcel 1, that development. And then in addition to the extension of Hawks Nest Trail Road, which is a collector road. And then it blows it up here on the right-hand side of the screen. There are some utility easements within the, excuse me, within the Parcel 1 for the sewer lines, water lines. But outside of that, it's essentially cutting the property up into 3 parcels so they can divvy it up via project. With that, town staff is forwarding a recommendation of approval for the Hawks Nest Village Minor Subdivision Final Plat, subject to the staff report and information provided during this hearing. I'll open it up for questions or discussion from council.
Questions, John?
Is this a single entrance and exit off of Road 2?
At this point, it is correct. As the proposal develops within the single family, there was prior stipulations with that 2007 rezone that they were to connect to the other 90 acres to the west. But at this point in time, it is, well, technically it's 2 points. So there is a point of access on the southern end of the apartment complex, and then they will also access via Hawks Nest Trail, which also puts out onto 2 North as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
John?
No, I'm good.
Annie?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so Hawks Nest has been in front of us for many, 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 many years.
Correct.
The single-family residential 0.16 acre minimum, we did away with. So where are we at with that?
So they did do away with it for any future stuff, but stuff that's already, or property that's already been entitled, they already
Okay.
have those rights. So there were not talking entitlements tonight. We're just simply, they're requesting to cut the parcel up based on project.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
They're proposing a final plat to cut the parcel up into 3, the 90 acres into 3 parcels, parcel 1, 2, and 3 for respective projects.
Okay, thank you.
Are you waiting on me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You had the floor.
Well, I'm just trying to do the math in my head of 72.77 acres.
You want to come back to you?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
You want density calculation?
Yeah,
kinda?
I do.
So the existing single family portion is 13,000 square foot lots. So it's right between 1/4 and 1/2 acre, more closer to 1/4 acre. 1/4 acre is right around 12,000, so a little over that.
And that's what the final plat is.
With current entitlements right now, there's no final plat or preliminary plat for the single family portion.
Okay.
Eric?
Hurts me in my stomach.
Can you come back to me real quick?
Yes, sir. Please.
I looked that over and discussed it with Will. It's somewhat interesting read. However, the approval for 2.35 acre lots that we're dealing with right here is acceptable.
I don't have any questions for you. Eric, are you there? Drew?
Yeah, I'm okay right now.
Okay. Alrighty. So then, where we at? This is no hearing
One
on
more
this
question,
one.
if I can.
Yes, sir.
Will's this town sewer and water both? I think I read it, but I don't remember.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Super, thank you.
Motion.
Okay. I make a motion, we approve the Hawks Nest Village minor subdivision final plat.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, consideration possible action to approve the financial report for the 9-month period ending March 31st, 2022. Jojo Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Huh? What? What'd I do wrong?
He called you JoJo.
Yes, that's okay.
I'm sorry, I always call him.
I have a nickname for him too.
Nope. Bring the microphones up.
Yeah, microphone's on, yes. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Generally, this is the first time I've been this year to you, before you to talk about our financial condition, where we're at. This, of course, is the beginning of the budget season, so next week I'll give you a lot more detail and you'll be a lot more comfortable. I do have some things I do want to go over with you, though, so just sort of maybe to talk about the financial report, but also to kick off the budget hearing and just give you some sort of set the deck for you. So as you know, we're 75% through the fiscal year, and overall, our revenues have been very, very strong. We've had just nice, good, steady growth. On page 74 in your packet is the general fund revenues that we looked at. Overall, we're up 3% over last fiscal year, so we're showing good growth. Our sales tax revenues, though, are up 12%, or about $600,000 over last fiscal year. We see good strength in retail sales. A lot of that's online. Construction is up slightly, and of course, the bed tax sales, which is hotel stays, those are up pretty good. Intergovernmental revenues, we knew those were going to be down this year based on the league's estimates, and they're right in line with budget projections. However, the budget projections for next year's intergovernmental revenue, which is state shared income tax, sales tax, HERF, and vehicle license tax, are up significantly. One of the reasons is our population is up, but the collections from the state overall are up. So we're going to see a nice little increase there. And so overall, we're projecting general fund revenues to be up about 8% as of June 30. And as you know, we've already projected our revenues and expenses for the budget coming up. Expenditures are up slightly over last fiscal year. Departments right now should be at about 75% or under on their budget. And as conservatively as we budget, most of the departments are going to be under, except for the senior center. And that's really due to increased food costs. We just can't keep up with the increase of costs and supplies and all the other stuff. That's probably the only department that I see going over budget this fiscal year. And so, most of them, all the rest should be right under budget. So this is the slide I really wanted to talk to you guys about. This is the general fund. And if you look at the adopted budget column, this is what we projected this time last year when we put the budget together. So we thought we were going to end the prior year, 21, with about 9.6 million, almost 9.7 million in the bank. We budgeted 12.7 million in revenues, almost $14 million in expenses, and we thought we were going to end the year at $8.4 million. End of this year, we thought we'd have $8.4 million in the general fund, which is about double. Well, what happened is we actually didn't start the year with as much as we thought we were going to. We were about $600,000 short. But our revenues this year are going to be about $1 million higher, and our expenses are going to be about $600,000 less. So what's inevitably happening is we're starting this budget year with an extra $1 million because of those reasons. So even though we budgeted pretty aggressive last year, we had a lot of things on the agenda to do, we just didn't spend as much money as we thought we were going to, and then our revenues were strong. So both of those put together, we're in better shape as of June 30 of this year than we were a year ago. HERF revenues are up 7% over the prior fiscal year. Our road maintenance expenses are down slightly. And as you remember, we did set up capital improvement funds last year where we do all the major stuff in a roads capital improvement or water or sewer capital improvement. So this is really just the operating. These are the employees, their equipment, and their crack seal and the small stuff that they do. Total expenses are up just a little bit due to transfers that we made to the capital improvement roads fund. Our HERF fund balance, same scenario. We thought we'd be at 1.8. We ended up being at 2.2 to start the year. So that helped us by $379,000. Revenues are up about $155,000 more than we projected. Expenses are $109,000 less. So we're ending the fiscal year, or starting this next fiscal year with about an extra $650,000. So that's a plus.
Could for the people at home, could you explain what HERF is?
Yeah, it's a highway user revenue fund, and these funds they come from your gas tax primarily, but they have to be used exclusively for road work by the town. Our water enterprise funds, revenue is down 16%, and that's really due to increased building activity, and this was actually through March 31st. Of course, in April, we saw a bump in building activity, so by the end of the year, we're probably going to be just fine. The water service fees, and that's really the amount that we charge for water, we call it service fees, are up 10%, and fill station receipts are doing really well too. And overall, the department's down about 21% on expenses, so they're running the water department pretty well. Here is the same graph. We started the year with about $308,000 more than we anticipated. Our revenues are down slightly than we thought, but that's the building fee, and I think this will come back up by June 30. Expenses are down, so here we've got an extra $500,000 in the water fund than we had projected. Now, sewer enterprise fund, it's not quite as rosy. Revenues are up, buy-in fees are up slightly, which means we're adding more accounts. Our service fees are up, and operating expenses are down. However, we're doing so much maintenance work in this, repairing so many things. We started the year about where we projected. Our revenues are up just slightly, but our expenses are going up quite a bit. So this is one of the reasons we're going to recommend doing a rate study for water and sewer in this next year's budget. It's actually been 5 years since we've done one, so it's the time that we do need to do it, just to keep on our 5-year plan. So we'll be having that in the budget. But the sewer enterprise fund is the one we're just not gaining as quickly as we are in the rest of the funds. And so with that, our capital improvements, just really quick. Our police department construction is ongoing. We will be presenting a change order at, I think, the next regular scheduled council meeting, and we'll go over in detail what that involves. We've completed the roads work, the rodeo drive at Old Home Manor. Frank's assured me that we're going to get well underway on our projects and hopefully have most of them completed by June 30, what you just approved tonight. And we did have to transfer an extra $500,000 from the general fund CIP. We were actually planning on transferring it on July 1st anyway. So it's just we did it a couple months early. Water, they completed the Head Start water line. And at the sewer plant, we're doing the screw press, the rotomat repair, and air lines. Those should be completed pretty close to June 30. I did have a discussion with WIFA this week, and they're okay with us using our reserve funds, except that's exactly what we're using them for. And we've got a couple projects like the equalization basin that we're applying for their project list that you have to do with them. And this will allow us, they score everybody who submits a project, and then they rate us that way. So we're getting those things done actually this week for it in anticipation of doing that work. And lastly, the major revenues, the blue bars were last year at this time through March 31st, and the red bars are this year at this time. So you see all of our major revenues, except for vehicle license tax, I believe, are up, and some of them are up, pretty healthy wise. So we're seeing, again, good growth in all of our revenues. The big one, town sales tax, that's ticking up at a pretty healthy percentage. So, and with that, if you have any questions or.
Okay, questions. Eric, you got any questions?
Not at the moment.
Please.
I understand, looks very good.
Thank you.
John.
So go back to the original screen where you thought your carryover was for the year, what you'd been in the positive.
Maybe I can do this quicker. In the general fund, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. So it's going to be, oh, sorry. Right here. Yes.
Okay. So at the end of our fiscal year, this is what our balance we're thinking about doing. How much of that do you generally like to keep in reserves?
Okay, so our reserves are 25% of how much we budget to spend in that fund.
Okay.
So this year, our reserve will be about $4.6 million is in the proposed budget.
Okay.
So we are almost double of what we our town policy requires us to have.
And then, so do we, on the surplus, do we think maybe we can pay off a little bit more of our unfunded PRS?
Yeah, and that's some of the decisions we can talk about during the budget hearing. But yeah, that is an option. We are also moving quite a bit of money per the town's, our strategic meeting, for roads and, Cindy, help me out. What else are we doing?
Water and sewers.
Roads and infrastructure.
infrastructure.
So we'll be showing that in the budget presentation next week, how we're moving that money.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'm fine.
It's great to see this before the next meeting. Thank you.
Next meeting, it'll be a lot funner.
Okay, we need to do a motion on this end.
I will gladly make a motion to approve the financial report for the 9-month period ending March 31, 2022.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Cloyce?
I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made. We're adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Yep.
now we're adjourned.
Thank you all.
3 minutes off. I said we'd be done by 6:45.
They're minors, so I can't.